So when it comes to Revelation 20, it's written in a nonlinear fashion and makes a good chunk of time jumps, and I'm here to break that apart, starting through verses 1 through 3 and 7 and 10 relating to secular history and future war. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. So let's go back to verse 1. This angel is speaking about Yahweh Shai. So after Yahweh Shai's death, he spiritually caused the downfall or the collapse of Rome, imperial Rome, and the people ruling it. And the people who were ruling it, the Edomites, of course, which the devil and Satan, they fell into a very, very low estate. They either fled into the Caucasus Mountains or they were under heavy servitude from the so-called Black Steppe with the Byzantine Empire or the Holy Roman Empire after Imperial Rome fell, which was around, I believe, 476 AD. And like I said before, the devil and Satan, that's speaking about the Edomites, not talking about the spiritual demon Satan in and of itself. Okay? We all know that according to Malachi chapter 1, verses 4, or Malachi chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, and verse 4, that the Most High has indignation for the nation of Edom and refers to them as the border of wickedness. Okay? So the devil and Satan, this is the word for Satan. It means an adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. I highlight this definition right here, number 6. On Mashiach's return from heaven, he will bound with chains for 1,000 years, but when the 1,000 years are finished, he will walk the earth in yet greater power, but shortly after will be given over to eternal punishment. In this context, it's speaking about the Edomite rulership. After the 1,000 years, the Edomites will return into power again, but of course with a vengeance. They've been blessed with technology out the wazoo, like V2 rockets, nuclear technology, lasers, all that, all sorts of crazy shit. Okay, and this is the definition for devil, applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of the Most High, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. Right. So Esau, once again, Esau is the left-handed, is the main vessel on the left-handed side, pushing wickedness, bullshit, witchcraft, so on and so forth. This is another example right here. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Okay, we know this is talking about the modern day Roman Empire. Okay, being America. That great red dragon, or that great red serpent, that's also in reference to Esau as well. So this is the definition for dragon. A dragon, a great serpent, a name for Satan. So I picked up this really good book a couple of years ago. It's a very basic book regarding the black rulership in Europe. It's called The Negro Question Part 4, The Missing Link. I'm going to get a zoom up on this picture, that way you can see it better. This picture right here within this book is called The Wild Men and the Moors. And as you can see here, this was a so-called white man in his bestial state. All right, that seaweed, all that seaweed on his body, that's really actually body hair. Again, the so-called white man was in a very, very low estate when he was coming out of the Caucasus Mountains, rebelling against the black rulership. While they were in the Caucasus Mountains, they were having sex with each other, having sex with animals, probably eating their own hair, and doing a whole bunch of nasty shit. As you can see right here, the black monarchs, the black nobility, the black soldiers defending the homeland, defending the castle. Get a little zoom in right here. It's another picture I got. I'm going to read what I highlighted. It says, the tapestry shows that the whites lived in tree houses and in caves. They were basically poor, while the technology and wealth was in the hands of the blacks. I'm going to zoom at it again right here. You see that shit, right? Look at that. I also got another one too. I'm gonna read this too. Hold on. See that right there? All right. So it says, I'm gonna read what I highlighted. It says, this is a scene from the destruction of the Drogheda, Ireland, by the English in 1641. They stripped the people naked and drove them into the mountains to freeze to death, but not before uttering a strange statement about the English being wild men. Remember, the Irish were so-called black in 1600, and you had many people, many so-called blacks living in Europe at that time, around the 1600s and the 1700s as well. They were in Germany, they were in Italy, they were in France, Great Britain, Ireland. They were everywhere. All right, so I picked up this good excerpt by Benjamin Franklin. I'm pretty sure most of you brothers have read this, but it's called The Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, which was published in 1751. And he pretty much lays out the fact that most of our people, we existed in abundance all throughout Europe during this time. I'm going to go to verse 24, or section 24. It says, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny, Asia chiefly tawny, America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. Get this, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. So pretty much he's laying out to you that most of our people, we existed in abundance during this time period. The many reasons why we fell or why our numbers depleted were due to many things. Caucasian rebellions, particularly, Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell was one of the main contributors of the many Caucasian rebellions during this time period. If I recall correctly, I believe he put King Charles I to death, and put not only him, but he put a lot of our people to death too. He either killed us all, put us into slavery, or sent us off in the Americas. He put us. He expulsed us in the Americas and in South America as well. Particularly, I think in the southern part of South America, around the Barbados, somewhere like that. So you've got Caucasian rebellions and the many diseases that the so-called Caucasian brought. That too also killed a lot of our people as well. So the definition of swarthy and tawny, this can't get any plainer than this. It says swarthy, dark of complexion, black, tawny. That's very, very simple, but this came from a very old dictionary. A very old dictionary as well. I got this from Real History WW. Real History WW is a very, very nice source, very notorious source regarding the history of our people. But it's very, very good. So you got to check this website out. All right, so I got pictures from in clear detail of the book that I just read out to you by Lee Cummings. I'm just gonna get a closer look up at these pictures to give you an idea of what the so-called white man looked in his lowest state. You see that? Mm-hmm. I also got a couple more. Yeah, that's how they were living, bro. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So, going back to verse 7, when those 1,000 years are expired, the so-called white man, or Esau, was predestined to, break out from his captivity under the black rulership and, start his own empire, build his kingdom up. And after that, somewhere along the line in the future, He's going to gather all the nations, gather all the armies of the earth, and basically fight on the valley of Jehoshaphat. When Yahushua comes back, all the other nations that are fighting against each other are automatically going to turn and fight against Yahushua and the rest of the elect, and they're going to fail. And a good precept to match this is 2 Ezra 13. I'm going to start at verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. I'm going to go to verse 10. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. Or that peaceable multitude being the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the 1/3. This is the meaning of the vision, whereas you saw a man coming up from the midst of the sea. The same is he whom God the highest has kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas you saw that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind, fire, and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing end of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Get this. And the time shall be when these signs, or when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed you before, and then shall my Son be declared Yahushua, whom you saw as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. Okay? All right, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as you saw the hill graven without hands. And this my Son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. And whereas you saw that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. So again, these precepts, they line perfectly with Revelation 20 and 8 and 9. All right, they're perfect precepts. Okay, so now that we got the history out of the way, Revelation 20 also speaks about the oncoming resurrection of both the righteous and the wicked when Yahushua returns. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. All right, this is the resurrection of the righteous, or the resurrection of the elect, which never submitted to the beast system, neither received the RFID chip in their arm or their forehead. All right, they're going to be deemed righteous. They're going to be deemed worthy in the eyes of the Most High, and they're going to reign with Mashiach 1,000 years. And during that 1,000-year period, they're going to have the heathen, under subjection, under slavery. But after that 1,000 years, they're going to go back into their respective lands and live righteously under the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, which goes into verse 5. The only nation of people that are not going to be around after that 1,000-year period is Esau, Edom. They're going to be wiped away and done away with completely, pursuing the Obadiah 1:18. But verse 5, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. And we can link that with a precept in Daniel chapter 7. I'm going to start at verse 10. It says, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. All right, that horn is speaking about the modern day Roman Empire, okay, being America, and of course the people that rule it, or the nation that rules it, being Esau, Edom. Right, they're going to be destroyed completely, done away with, eradicated. But verse 12, as concerning the rest of the beasts, meaning the other nations, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season of time. So the other nations that worked alongside Esau, they're going to be destroyed as well, don't get me wrong, but there's going to be a remnant left that are going to serve under captivity. And those other nations outside of Esau, once that 1,000-year period is up, they're going to be given a level of mercy. Again, they're going to go back to their respective lands and, attempt to live righteously under the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, so Revelation 20:11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. All right, so going into verse 13, when it speaks about death and hell, it's just another fancy way of saying the grave, or the dirt, or the dust. We're going to get this right here. This is G86, Hades. Later use of this word, the grave, death, and hell. Okay? And when it comes to the resurrection, both the resurrection of the righteous and the wicked are going to take place at the exact same time. Right? There's a scripture in Matthew 13 where it speaks about the wheat and the tares, about how they're going to be risen up spiritually, both at the same time. So if they're going to be risen up spiritually at the same time, they're also going to be resurrected, and they're going to be cast into their lots on the day of judgment at the exact same time as well. All right, we can get it right now. All right, this is Matthew chapter 13. Let's see how Shai speaking. It says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in your field? From whence and has it tares? And he said unto them, the enemy has done this. The servants said unto him, Will thou that we go and gather them up? This is the kicker right here. It says, but he said, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. The harvest being about the day of judgment. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Right, this is verse 37. Right, this is the clarification. And he answered and said unto them, he that sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. Yahweh Shai's return in the day of judgment as well. And the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the resurrection of the righteous and the wicked are going to happen at the exact same time. So that's all there is to it. Hope you guys got some out of this. And I'll catch you next time.